Welcome back to the stream, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to my channel. We are starting a new series today, and we're going to be working on this P-51, or actually the F-51 Mustang. So let's check it out. Starting a new series, just like I said, and this is the Tamiya 1/32 scale F-51 Mustang, F-51D to be correct. And this is from the Korean War, that era, World War II. It's post World War II, but yeah. So we're going to get into this, kind of going old school, of course, with an old P-51 Mustang. This is going to be the first time that I've built a 1/32 scale version of this plane. I have built one a long time ago, probably a few years now. Another Tamiya kit. It was the 1/48 scale version of this plane. So I felt I wanted to have a bigger version and something a little more detailed. And of course, as a nod to my Korean friends, I'm going to be building this in the Korean version. It actually comes with the decals for the Korean version, and so yeah, open the box, take a look. Obviously I've already opened the box to pull the instruction booklet out. To me, of course, giving you a nice big book to go with it. Looking at my desk, you can see a whole bunch of paints here. Why? Because going through the instruction manual and seeing what colors I'm going to need, these are all the colors that you need to paint this thing. Which, if you were just kind of starting out and you've never built a lot of models, this might be a bit daunting, especially when one of Tamiya's paints cost what they do. Yeah. I also, you might notice this. This is some Bondo brand glazing putty, which I will be utilizing on the top of the wings, which I'm going to start on that today, but that's pretty much all we're really going to be doing, because I've got to get that on there and I've got to let it dry, and I've got to let it cure for quite a while actually. And I might get to doing some priming on it, but we'll see how it goes. We'll go through some of the other things that come in the box here. Tamiya, of course, very nicely gives you some really beautiful color scheme illustrations for where all the decals go. They usually do these on their higher end kits, right? And of course we have the other sides for the different variants that they do. Of course, here we are with the Korean one. That's the one I will be doing. So I'll actually just flip this over like this. How do I want to do this? Like that. There we go. So I can just easily see my Korean version of the aircraft for later when we get to that point. So let's put those there. We have decal sheet, big honking decals. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Tamiya decals online. I'm not sure why. I've never really had an issue with them. They're pretty good. They're not bad. Of course, I won't be doing the USAF. I'll be doing the Korean ones. And with that, which I thought at first seeing this, I thought that was Korean writing, but it's actually not. There might be one Korean letter in there, Xia, maybe at the end there, but it looks like it's all actually Chinese writing. Or maybe there's a Wa in there, or we, yeah, I don't know. I believe the history of that particular plane was a pilot from the US. When they sent these over to South Korea, they had one American pilot was training them how to use them and how to maintain them, how to fly and maintain the P-51s, and he had that on the front nose of his plane. Something written something about, I think the translation is something to the regard of like a man of great belief or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, they also give us a nice little book. And this is a bunch of history on the P-51 Mustang, and about the engine that they were, like even the history, like going all the way back to the P-51A and escort to Germany, the definitive Mustang, the P-51D, which of course this one is. Yeah, and then we've got some details on like the dorsal fin, the port wing, and elevators, and all these things, naming it. We've got a diagram of all the variants of the different Mustangs, what they look like. There's the engines, all kinds of things. Even the difference in the wing design compared to a Spitfire, right? And all that. It's nice difference, and we even have some color reference photos that they give us at the back, so you really can go to town on your detail on this. Of course, looking at photos online is a lot easier because you can zoom in and out and stuff like that. Unfortunately, a book like this, you can't really, how do you zoom in? You go, right? That's about it. Okay, pick up my paint that fell down. Okay, now let's go through all the sprues. Let me get these out of the way, and I'll just kind of put them off to the side here, as I am going to need them, just not today. Just not today. I like to keep these are the clear colors. I just like to keep those separate. That's just me. I'll put my little bottles over here, out of my way. And these guys can go over here where they belong. Okay. So, here's our box. It's not an overly huge box, but I haven't taken any of these out of their plastic bags yet. Tamiya, of course, they're nice enough to give you some photo etch. It's pretty rare for Tamiya to give you photo etch pieces, but this kit, we've got our photo etch seat belts and things like that, and some other things like the radiator grills and things like that. That's a nice little touch. I already pulled these out. We've got some masks for the canopy. Tamiya likes to help you out with these. A couple little decals are going to go if you want to have the plane in flight. They give you a base that you can have the plane displayed on, and then you have these stickers in there that just add that little touch to it. Okay, so bag number one. Now, of course, I like to pull the staples out because Tamiya always staples everything, all their bags and all their kits, always stapled together. But I don't want the chance of this falling on the floor in my carpet. Okay, so obviously the first one is our wings, main wings. So I'm going to change the camera here so you can see what I was talking about, why I'm going to be using this putty. Okay, I'm going to show you here. So Tamiya is really nicely got lots of panel line detail. If I can get this in the right angle, you can see the detail of all the panel lines on the top of the wings there, right, all around in here. Lots of nice crisp lines, lots of rivets, everything like that. Okay, so the problem with this is, in real life, what they were doing back then, especially in World War II and in the Korean War, in an effort to reduce the amount of drag at the front of the wings, they actually bondoed in all the different panels. They put Bondo on there and filled in all those deep crevices between the panels to make them as smooth as possible. Just like you would on, say, like a car or something like that. You got two pieces of sheet metal going together like this. You've got a line there. So you fill that in, and then you Bondo over it, and you sand it all down nice and smooth, and you've got now a nice smooth surface. And that's what they did on the front edge of these wings. So I need to put the Bondo on these panel lines and fill them all in. Normally I would use something like this stuff, the Vallejo plastic putty, right? Or even Tamiya's the regular Tamiya plastic putty, right? But I've found this one, sometimes when I'm trying to sand it and I'm sanding it, it'll actually just pull right off and just disappear and pull right off of the piece that I'm trying to fill in. So I don't like that. And the Vallejo's water-based, and I find it does the same kind of thing. It's not actually sticking to the plastic, it's just kind of sitting there. And so when I try to sand it, especially the Vallejo, it's very soft, and so it just kind of, you can sand away way too much really easily. This is actually made for automotive, so this stuff is a lot more durable. I've heard of guys using this. I've never actually used it myself, so this is going to be the first time I use it. I know I want to use it sparingly, and I'll try and show you guys. I have reference photos of where you should actually use it. So I just want to check this out. I'm going to show you here. You just get the right thing opened up and show you guys what I'm talking about. Where are my reference photos? Right here, I believe. Yes. Okay, so let's bring this back and have a look. So close this window, should be this one, and we will do this. Okay, so that's basically it. As you can see, these red lines are what need to be filled in, because this is where they would have filled it in on the actual plane, and fill those in with Bondo, right? So that's basically it. That's kind of like what they would do, right? So I will get that original picture back up there, and yeah, then we'll go back. All right, so now you get an idea why I need to fill these in. So I'm going to get them off the sprue now, just so I can put the sprue down and deal with it later. So I'll just take these off of here, and then we'll continue looking at the other parts. Okay, that's that. I might as well take, I think I'm supposed to do some on the bottom side too, if I remember correctly, which it's highly likely that I don't remember correctly. But in any case, I'll take this off of here like this. Okay. All right. So there's our wing, our main wing. Let's put these here for now. Okay. Let's turn this. Let's do this. Next bag. Looks like we've got some Ordnance. Looks like our drop tanks, our fuel tanks, and napalm. Somewhere in, I'm not sure what the actual year was, 1944 or 45, somewhere along there, they changed the designations from P-51 to F-51, as they were changing from, I believe the P stood for pursuit, and then the F stands for fighter, right? which the US adopted, and now of course all their modern planes, fighter planes, begin with the F, you know, F-15, 16, 18, 22, all that. Alright, these look like the fuel tanks, and then these look like the napalm. We've got some rockets, because this was before the era of missiles. Rockets, and I don't know what those are. And of course we've got bombs. This kit allows you to build it in one of three different ways. There's three different variants, A, B, and C. They point that out at various points in the instruction manual, which variant you want to build, right? Obviously you can't put all of the stuff on underneath the wings. They just don't have the spots for it, and of course the real plane couldn't carry all of this at all, so you know, it's not an A-10 Warthog. Okay, next one. Looks like we got some cockpit pieces. Let's get these put away here. I do want to I need to primer all of these, right? I've got to start with primer on all of it. Looks like I've got a couple of variations of the actual cockpit instrumentation, although they do look very similar. They are similar, but they're not quite the same. Or, yeah, their setup is just a little bit different. Again, that's going to depend on which variation you're going to build, right? Totally up to you. Of course, speaking of instrumentation, I have purchased Red Fox Studios little 3D resin kit, because I cannot paint nearly as well as what I would like to. So they come with this, and I'll change the camera so you can see. Actually, let me see if I can get this camera to focus for you here, so that you guys can actually see it. I'm going to put this to automatic so you can see, and I'll change the camera. Alright, hopefully that'll zoom. There you go. You can see the detail on that, and that is just way more detail than I could ever paint, right? So yeah, that's the way that is. Yeah, so all you do is you peel these off, and you just use a little bit of CA glue, and you glue them down, and there you go. Of course, what does that require? It requires airplanes to stop taking off while I'm talking, for number one. But it also requires that your surface that you're putting it on is very flat and smooth, right? So that requires some sanding or filing to file down. Unfortunately, you got to file down all the details to nothing, so that they're gone, to give those pieces a nice flat surface to stick to when you glue them down. So yeah, it kind of feels wrong when you're sanding it down and just you're saying, okay, really nice detail, let's get rid of it, right? And yeah. Anyway, so that's that one. Moving on. Let's get that staple out of there. This looks like we've got some landing gear bay doors. And of course, Tamiya is very nice, and they give you the option. You got this great big one. This is your landing gear bay doors. If you want to have a plane in flight and the landing gear is retracted, you got this nice panel to put in there. Or if you're going to have the landing gear displayed open, then you've got your separate doors and everything like that. And this is your basic, where everything's going to be painted and where it's all going to be mounted and everything, all the detail, actual landing gear, all that fun stuff. That's that one. This one looks like we've got our fuselage halves, front and rear, which is kind of unfortunate. I think this, okay, now I may have watched, I think I watched a build video on this particular kit a while back. I think when I first bought the kit, I watched a YouTube video, somebody building the kit, and the fact that our tails are actually going on here. Now Tamiya has done a pretty nice job at making sure that this fits nicely, and you've got a nice, good, decent panel line that matches the rest, and that it fits really nice. But at the same time, I've heard something about these ghost seams, that it just doesn't match up and stuff like that. Let's just have a quick little look. If I get this off of the sprue, take this one off, and we'll just have a look and see how the fit actually is. Okay. Of course, you want to clean up your sprue mark as best as you can, so I'll just try and do that real quick here so that I get a true representation of how this is going to fit. Okay, so let's see. That's going to go in here like this. It does fit, absolute perfect fit. But yeah, you can tell it's an actual separation. I mean, it is pretty. Let me change the camera and you can maybe have a see here. This is where they go together here, right? Just like this. And let me pull back here. Okay, so like that, and they just fit together like that. Now, if you're not diligent, you could have it so that it shows that line, but I can kind of really squeeze them together, and that pretty much hides that. And then you're really not going to know that it's two pieces. I mean, as you can see, just holding it, yeah, but if I just do this a little bit, that line kind of goes away. So that is pretty good. That is pretty good. I can't really complain about that. That's really awesome. What I will do is I'll glue it, and then after I've glued it, I will take some of the Vallejo, this one, I'll put it in there and then I'll wipe it away, and that will give me a much shallower crack, so that when I'm doing panel lining later, it's not just going to disappear into that seam, because that's one thing that kind of tends to happen, is the panel liner just goes down into the crevice and it disappears, right? But when you've got something actually limiting the depth of that crack, the panel liner doesn't have anywhere to go, and so it stays there, and that helps out a lot. So I'll do that. I'll just leave this aside now that I've taken it off the sprue, and worry about that later. Next, we got a little baggie, which looks like our propeller. There's our prop. Oh, looks like we got our, maybe some batteries, some electronic parts. We got a pilot's helmet, which, if you guys watch my channel at all, you know I don't do pilots, which is why my plane is not going to be displayed in flight. So anyway, we have two different propellers, although they look the same. Oh, wait a sec, it's not two props. One goes on top of the other because it's four propellers on the P-51. Yeah, anyway, there's that. So again, depending on which variation of the plane you're building is going to depend on which propeller you actually put on it. I'm not exactly an expert on the history of the plane and its different variations, so that doesn't really matter to me too much. I'm not looking for perfect historical accuracy in my build, but I want a little bit, right? I do want a little bit. See, now these props are different. See, these props have rounded tips, but these ones are square. See the difference there? These ones are a lot more square tip right there, and these ones are round. So yeah, I don't remember which one is which, but it is pointed out in the manual. Version A and B use one, and version C uses the other. But anyway, this looks like we've got our kind of the exhaust or radiator part, intake, a couple of different pieces. A lot of these parts are going to be silver or metal color, metallic. Yeah, that's those. Next, looks like we've got our elevators and things like that. Yeah, for our tail wings, and there's our for the tail fin, and these obviously are the what do they call these? Control surfaces. That's it. Yeah, that's what these are. One thing I did notice just skimming through the manual, Tamiya asks you to use quite a bit. Use the use CA glue on a lot of parts on this thing. Yeah, so here's a sprue that has the pilot, and of course pilots A and B. Pilot B is actually he's just standing there, and then pilot A, obviously he's got his bent knees and his hands out holding onto the stick and everything, and then there's the guy's head there for him. Yeah, and then there's this part there, I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, that's that. I'll just leave this in there because I'm not going to use it unless I actually need that rectangular piece, but I don't know. This looks like our engine. This looks like our engine here. Yeah, we got our engine block and the heads and the oil pan, everything, front cover, all kinds of stuff, all for the engine. 90% of this is just going to be gloss black. Looking through the book, it's putting all the pieces together, and it's like black, everything just plain black, right? Which basically means I'll assemble this without painting it at all, and I'll just paint it once it's all assembled, right? That's going to be easy. This is basically step one in the plane, so I'll do that. Unlike most airplane builds where they tell you to build the cockpit first, in this one we're building the engine first, just like a car model. Next, basically I might start on building the engine today, getting some of those pieces assembled and ready for paint. This one is kind of looks like we've got a mix of parts on this one. We've got our ammunition racks that go in the wings along here and here. This is for guns. This looks like a top cowl. It might be for the underneath. We've got our exhausts that go on the engine. Yeah, just more mechanical pieces. This is the top kind of rail that goes over top of the engine and everything. We've got rear landing gear here that's kind of half assembled. We've got the rear landing gear wheel. Yeah, a couple of little things, some piping. Yeah, different stuff like that. This looks like the, I'm not sure what that is actually. Top of the seat or something like that, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's that one. Two more to go. I've got this tiny little guy. Looks like more engine pieces in this bag. a couple of different cowling pieces of some sort. I'm not sure what they're all for. Just some more detailed parts. They definitely look like engine parts, which means they're probably all black too. I'll leave those out. We have this one, which has actually 2 sprues in one bag. Looks like one sprue's got a couple more control surfaces on it. One thing that's really nice, so I have not come across any bags that have like parts that have come off. Good quality Tamiya kit. This looks like more parts of the guns. A couple of flaps. Looks like the covers that go on the top of the wing that covers up the ammunition. The cowl looks like we've got a main landing gear wheel. And then this looks like a duplicate sprue. Yes, identical. So it's 2 sprues that are identical. Alright, that's that. One more. This is just our display stand, which I don't think I'm going to be using at all. But that's what our display stand, so if you want to display this thing in flight, you have this. Okay? I'm going to put this all back in here. Just like that. And of course, Tamiya gives us a nice little bag here. Oops, one's come out. Gives us this. So let's cut open this bag. I think what Tamiya does is gives us. They did something that they don't do on their. This is so thin. The plastic is super thin on this. You can just flex it so easy. Which is why they've put it in this nice little protective box. See, they don't do this with their 48 scale kit. Why is that being held so tightly? There we go. Okay. Yeah, so they make this really thin to cover it up, to cover up our engine. There's our main cowl is going to be kind of like this, right? Kind of like that. Sort of, kind of, right? On their 48 scale kit, they don't bother giving you a cowl like this. You have your 2 halves, and then you have this seam line going across here that you have to kind of try and get rid of, right? Now, although there is a parting line all the way down there, it's nothing like what's on the 148 scale kit. So that is really nice looking. I'm just amazed at how thin they sculpted that and molded that. I'm going to take this thing off of here. I'm smart. I left a little bit on there so that I can clean that up easier later. If you trim right down to it and you accidentally trim too far, then, well, yeah, and we've got our engine cowling left and right, here and here. So these don't actually, when you put them together, these actually are going to sit about this far apart, right? Something like that, right? Anyway, that's nice that they do that for you. Put these back down in there so they don't fall through. And I'll just leave these in here like that. Okay. Now, the last thing we have is a little box. Which I took the liberty of. It's really kind of tight in here. You get this little box. North American F-51D Mustang. Right? So I went and pulled this out of the box already just to see what was in here, and then I went and cut this so it's easy to open. But I'm going to leave the lid off of this now, as I don't need it, because this is our clear parts. So we've got 2 canopies, and I think they are, yeah, so one is a lot more of a bulbous canopy and one's more streamlined. I don't remember which one is which on the actual planes, but I know there's 2 versions. We have more clear parts. We've got the clear parts for the instrument gauges. We've got our front part of the canopy, a couple of other things, little lights and stuff like that. We have a 3rd canopy, which looks like a duplicate of this one, but I am not 100% sure. Let me see what the markings are on the sprue. N1, M1, yeah, M, P, and N. I don't know. I don't know the difference. We have our metal rods that are usually utilized for our landing gear. It gives the landing gear some rigidity to handle the weight of the plane. We've got a few of them in there. We have our special little screwdriver they give us, and we've got some poly caps in there for that. And then we have some magnets and some screws and pins. And then we have our main landing gear tires, real rubber tires, squish, 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 with the tread on them. They got the cross hatch tread on them, so that's cool. And yeah, I like that. So I'll take these out of the bag. You put a bag in a bag for no real reason. Like the tires are going to get lost if they're loose in a box or something like that. Anyway, that's it. That's everything that's in the kit. Absolutely everything. So, going back to what I was talking about earlier with the putty. I'm going to take a look at my reference photos real quick here to see if I need to put putty on the top or the bottom, and maybe even mark the lines where I need to so I definitely need to do the top and the bottom. So if I'm looking at the top, I need to fill in this line all the way, this one here, this one all the way along there, that needs to be filled in. This one, this one. Let's see, they show, yes, like this, and this one up here. We need to fill in this one, and it looks like here and here. Those are the lines that need to be filled in. just like that. Now looking at the bottom, if we look at our bottom wing, similar. We need to do this one to here, this one to here, this one actually goes down to here. I'm going to be filling in this one, but because it's a separate piece, I can't fill it right now. And then this one, and then this line, and this line, this line, which goes here, and there. Just like that. That one, this one, this one, and there. Oh, actually down to here. Actually goes quite all the way down. Down to here. Next line down. Down to there. This one actually goes down further also. It goes down there. Okay. So, those are the lines that need to be filled in. Okay. So, I don't want to just gob this on here and fill it all in because there's a lot of rivet detail that I don't want to destroy. I only want to fill in these lines, right? And that's all I want to fill in. Now, that leaves the question, do you have to do it? No, not at all. You don't have to do it at all. If this is too much for you, you figure it's too much detail, too much work, don't do it. It's very simple. Just say no. You're allowed to say no. It's your model kit. It's up to you how much or how little detail you want to put into it. You want to go crazy and have this thing looking like an absolute historically accurate aircraft, then by all means, have at her. But you don't have to. Now, what I am doing is looking at just how much detail there is. Filling in these lines, I am going to accidentally be removing some rivet detail. There's a lot of rivet detail on this kit that I don't want to lose. I'm kind of feeling like if I do fill in those, I'm going to lose the rivet detail. And I do have a riveter tool, but I've literally never used it. And so I'm kind of wary about actually doing this. Because having not actually looked at the kit, I didn't realize how much rivet detail was on this and how much I would have to reproduce if I try and put some putty on here and just go smear. Even just a little bit, I'm going to be going, because they've got rivets that are literally 0.5 millimeter away from each side of the line. Even if I fill it in with the Vallejo, it's going to be filling in the rivet detail also. So I'm not going to be using this putty. I'm going to not do that part. I'm just going to leave it. And I'm going to leave the rivet detail. So we're going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it, guys. So let's have a look at the book. Okay. have a look at the book. I want to check something real quick here. Okay. All right, let's look at the book. Page 1, Japanese that I cannot read, and then we go into a whole bunch of history on the actual P-51 Mustang. Nice little history on it. Actually a page and a half on it. Actually, no, just one page. This is all. Oh no, there is more. They've just got some French in here also. Yeah. Anyway, instructions. We've got our little paint chart that Tamiya always gives us at the beginning. And then gives us a little pictures of our 3 different variations, which I'll show you here. 3 variations of the plane. Okay. A, B, and C. C, of course, being the Korean one, and that's the one I'm building. Okay. So, I've already gone through the entire book. As you guys know, you've seen me do this before. I like to take that paint code chart and I write down everywhere in the book, like right here, for example. Okay. I go, sorry on that camera, gloss black, everything. Because Tamiya shows, you know, it's color number X18. So I look in the front, okay, that's gloss black, and I write it through as I go through, so I do not have to keep flipping back and forth to remember what all these different colors are, right? I'd hate doing that, so I go through and I write through the whole book so that I know what color to use when I get to that part. Anyway, we're going to start with our H tree, which I think this is H. Finding it right there. It's another thing I like to do as I go through the first time I get a sprue is I like to put just in a Sharpie, do that so that I know this is the H tree. It's easy to find next time I go to search for it. Okay, I'll change my glasses here. And I'll change the camera so you guys can see a little bit better, as I've neglected to do so up until now. Okay, we need H6, 11, and 2. Okay, 6, 11, 2, and we need 8. Okay. Now, this piece has a couple little nubs to clean off of it. Tamiya seems to have really done a really good job at, I'm not sure if that's part of the nub or if that's supposed to be like that. Put the two halves of the engine block together first, and then we'll see how that part wants to go on top. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to distinguish whether it's an actual part or not. Okay, that's going to go together like that. Okay. Get my thin set. Okay, so with this in that direction, We have this piece going on top. Let's see if this is going to fit. Oh yeah. No, see? I do need to remove that. There. Okay. Oh, this one too on the side. I have seen guys online, YouTube, you can see that some guys really go crazy with the detail on this engine. It's not my intention to do that. I'm basically building it out of the kit, out of the box, with the exception, of course, with the Red Fox Studios instrument panels. Okay, there's this. So in this direction we have our little piping to go on. This guy here. And he's going to line up like this. This doesn't seem to want to line up. It shows holes here and here, but there are no holes here and here. And these definitely have little pegs. There's no holes here and here at all. So I'm going to get rid of our little pegs. It's interesting to run into this right at the beginning of the build. It's going to sit just like that. It's definitely sitting in the right spot it's supposed to. There just aren't any holes for it to line up to where it's supposed to. So I'll just hold this for a second, let the glue do its thing. There we go. So there's one side, that's that one. So we're going to do this all again. One, two, three, and doing H3. That one. See, they have holes here. They're not instructing me to drill any holes. They're here, they're marked on the inside of the block, but they're blank on the outside. So you could, you know, grab your pin vise, with a bit, Okay, which now I've got holes in the side, just like it's supposed to. I have to clean them up now. Okay, so now I've got holes. Let's clean up my nubs. Clean up these nubs. Clean up this. Now I know that's what that is undergated. So if you don't know the term undergated, it means instead of the attachment point being on the side where you might see an imperfection where you cut it off, they have it on the sprue. They have it attached underneath so that when you cut it off, you're never ever going to see it, right? Bandai does that with precision. I see it with more modern Tamiya kits, but not with their older ones. So I think maybe they finally took a lesson from Bandai, dare I say. Okay, those three are together. Now let's get rid of our extra little pieces off of this. And in theory, this is going to fit right where it's supposed to. And it does. It's obviously a little less finicky than the other side, since it's actually got holes to mount in. Just going to hold it for a sec to make sure they hold, and then do that center one. There we go. So we have that. They show you here to cut these off. They want you to cut this end piece off right there. Now that's on the H11, which is this one, which is this guy here. They want you to cut this tip off. Okay, Tamiya, that's done. I hope you're happy. Okay, and then on H7 and 8, there's a couple of things. Oh, here they go. Yeah, they're telling me to drill the holes out. See, I missed that. That's why it's important to read your instructions. Now on H7 though, they want us to cut a couple of things. There's a couple of tiny little nibs right there and there on each side. On each one, right there and there. They want us to trim those, get rid of those. Now you might be able to see it now that it's been cut and it's white. So it's kind of in a spot where it's kind of hard to get in there and really trim it down to nothing without also cutting away something else that you don't want to cut. But that seems to be alright. Okay, let's do that on this one. There we go. Okay, that's done. That's those two done. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at this. We want H20, 25, and 26. Well, right in front of me is 26, 25, and we want H20. This guy over here. This looks like a side shift cylinder off of a forklift. Clean up our nubs off of here. And we're going to get this assembled. Now it says here, do not glue this part, do not cement, okay? We're just going to put this inside. So we want this direction here. Long piece is facing down. And then this is going to go over this side. Seems to be a really tight fit. Why don't they want this glued? I don't know why they don't want that glued in there. It doesn't move. It's not going to move at all. So why can't I glue it? Whatever, it's not glued, so I'm following the instructions. I am following the instructions, I'm not gluing it. So there's that. Okay, they call this a crankcase. That's a crankcase. Next, we got the intercooler pump, H15, 16, and 17. And it looks like we got to cut a nib off of H15. There's 15. 15, 16, and 17. Okay, first of all, we're going to cut off our little nib. They want this piece cut off. Okay. Things like that always make me wonder, okay, if you needed to cut that off, why did you mold it on there? I'm trying to find the nub on that and I can't find it. Okay. So this goes into this. They're not saying don't glue anything, but at the same time, there we go. Glue that in. Then this guy goes in like that. I will say this is turning out to be having fitment like the 1/48 scale F4 Phantom by Tamiya. These parts are fitting together like a dream. just initial impressions. Okay, so next we're gonna have to get H5 and some of the photo etch pieces. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, first of all, we need to assemble this. So let's get H27 and H5. 27 is our oil pan. And then we need H5. Okay. Again, the nub is undergated so that when you take it off, you cannot see it on this side at all. So again, it's going to fit flawlessly. Okay, oil pan's got to go on the bottom of the crankcase, just like that. Even through the pegs, it's just perfect. So what I'm going to do is pull that back off of there. I'm going to put a little bit of this glue on the pegs. Just like that. Now I've got need to smooth those out. Look at that. That's beautiful. And just to make sure she's all together and going to be happy, very nicely done. Looks cool. Now, our two halves. You can't screw these up because you've got your long holes and your short holes, so you can't accidentally put these on back. I suppose you could accidentally put them on backwards by doing this, but actually I don't think so. You want to have your little exhaust ports and this little railing of whatever that is facing outward. That's a tight fit, but it fits perfect, right? So I just wanted to test fit that, and I want to do that with this side too. This side, doink, this one's a little looser. So let's get this one glued in. Just like so. And we'll get this one glued in. Just like so. Okay. And now we have this guy. This guy drops down in between there. But we got to get our photo etch, because we've got a couple of photo etch pieces that are going to go here, here, and here. Okay. So let's find our photo etch and find them. I'm going to need this glue for a minute. Now, I have a choice. I can put this on first, which might be the better way to go. Get that mounted in there. I might do that and then put the photo etch on, or put the photo etch on and then put it together. I think I'll do the photo etch first. Okay, so let's find the photo etch. They're right here. So it's these three pieces here. So I'm going to grab my thing that's going to knock stuff down. That's what I'm going to do. My photo etch scissors. I bought these and they are really a lot easier to trim photo etch than using an X-Acto knife. There's one. Two. And three. There we go. There's our three. There. Put that over here. Put this back together. Okay, so I need some CA glue. So I'm going to take this and I'll grab my CA. Use my extremely professional applicator, not. So I'm going to do a little test fit on this and see how these are going to sit. I have a feeling it just sits like that, and those, yeah, so I can just glue it in around there. Okay. So one. Tamiya did do a really good job at sculpting the plastic so that these things fit perfectly. Just like that. Are you guys able to see that at all? Right in the right angle, I can see it. Yeah. Okay, third one. There we go. Now if you're like me and you're in a little bit of a hurry and you know crazy glue is not fast enough for you, we have accelerator. And that's gonna make it dry faster. There we go. So I am happy that I did it this way. Now I can put those in. Okay. And what I like to do, because I've still got CA glue in there, I like to take a Q-tip and just soak that up. Dries a little faster, and then I don't have a blob of CA glue that takes a really long time to dry. Okay, back to this. Sitting in that position, we're going to put some glue down. On these two tabs. There we go. Okay. Oh, thank you. Yes, a Mustang, Uala. That's right. Alright, that's assembled. Next, we have this part here. This is our intercooler pump. And it's going to go on the side right there. So, we've got to get this lined up. It's going to go like that. And this little notch going right there. Doink. Of course, everything here is going to be painted black except for our little center thing. So we might be getting to the point where we're getting close to the point where I'm going to be done assembling because I can't assemble anymore. I need H4 and 23. H4 times 2. And we want 23. It's 28, 22, 23, this half moon. Okay. Let's clean this up. Right. Okay. So these two, how do they go? You're going to go like this. It's a little bit tricky. We go like that. Just like that. That's those in there. This guy actually goes in this direction on this side of the engine, right there. That's interesting. So now we have our little shaft here that needs to be painted silver, and then the cover's going to go on. Now, I think what I want to do, because I'm just going to spray paint this whole thing, I'm going to get the cover. That's H22. I'm going to try and get away with putting the cover on and then painting it. Then take the cover off in order to install the shaft. See, they even point out here on the diagram that you got to get rid of these two little nubs, because again, they undergated it. Undergating, of course, makes it so that where it attaches on the sprue, you're never going to see it once you cut it off. And that's that. If they'd done it on the side, it would be too hard to get rid of your little nub on the side. See, this guy is supposed to go just like this. Now, the fact that this is actually a pretty tight fit here, I think I can get away with leaving it like that and paint it, and then I can take this off. I think that's pretty good. This is going to go inside, so I think I can actually hold it with an alligator clip. Maybe I need something a little stronger than an alligator clip. Yeah, that might work. There we go. So, I think it's time for some Mr. Surfacer primer. And then maybe we'll call it a day. So, I gotta get my little table prepared. I'm gonna get my little table prepared here for painting. And then I've got, just like there's still a little bit left in there, but I do still have a brand new can. So let's just shake it up. This one feels like there's not much left in this one at all. So probably I'm going to be getting that one out pretty quick here. Let's see. Maybe not. For an engine block, there's plenty of paint in this can. There we go. We've got a little black engine that you can't even see because of my black shirt. Bring that down to my arm. There you go. Now you can see my little black engine. A little black engine that could. Anyway, with that engine now got a coat of black on it, I'm gonna let this dry for a few minutes, and then I'll give it a second coat, and then I will put clear on it, because it's all supposed to be clear, or it's supposed to be gloss. Of course, Mr. Surfacer Primer is not gloss, so I'm just gonna leave that. I will give it a second coat in about 5 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna call it a day. That's gonna be it for today, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching, and thanks for coming out. Thanks for all your support on my YouTube channel, guys. Thank you so much. If you like this stuff, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to see still pictures of stuff that I've built, I did just finish an AC Cobra model. If you're interested in seeing what that looks like, you can head on over to my Instagram, where I post still pictures of everything that I've built in the past, or just about everything since YouTube anyway. So yeah, guys, thanks again. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna see you all in the next one.